Hello everybody, welcome to a new tutorial from Sound for More. It's Leo speaking. Today I'm going to introduce you to the sequencer inside Scalar 2. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, we're inside AUM. I have already created an audio channel. I have selected Scalar 2 as an audio source. Let's click on it and we have Scalar 2 open up as an AUV3 instance. Now let's select first of all a scale like a C major and let's build a chord progression. Something simple like that. That's nice. Let's activate also looping. Okay, let's go to the sequencer menu which you find or page which you find down here where it says SEQ. So you press on it, you can see is moving up. And let me collapse this section, which I will refer to it in a moment. As you can see at the top, this is exactly what you had on the main page on section C here. It's exactly the same. You see the same chord progression. But in addition, you have undo or redo buttons. So if I press undo, you can see it has removed the last chord I added, and now I can click to redo again and it will add the chord. Okay, so that is really nice to have undo and redo here. But it is exactly the same C section. Indeed, if I press here on the C to have MIDI bind, which you will say up here, if I go back to the main view, you can see MIDI bind is active there. And I can also deactivate it pressing on the C down here. So let's go to the sequencer view. So you see the same chord progression, which I have created in the main view or page. And underneath you have these three sections, one for chord voicing, one for playback timings, and one for playback performances. You can open up each of the different sections, pressing on the plus sign, and close them pressing on the minus sign. You also have symbols of a bin for each one of them. You click on it and you can reset at that particular section to the default values, okay, which becomes really handy. So let's see what we can do. So let's open the first section about chord voicing. So as you can see, what you change is aligned to each different chords. So we can change octave, inversion, and semitone. So for example, for this C major chord, I can go up an octave. As you can see, you can also hear the chord, which is changed, and that is because here we have sound active. If you click on it, you deactivate it. So when you make the change, you don't hear the chord anymore. I prefer to have that active. You can also change the inversion, which is nice. You can go the opposite way, and you can go up by semitones as well. Okay, like so. Now let's reset to the default values, like so. Perfect. So that is the chord voicing. Let's go to the next section. This is Playback Timings. This is where you change the duration of the chord. Now, the duration of the chord at the top is relative to the global settings. If you go to the settings here, you find that the chord duration is equal to 2 bits. Indeed, if you press here in AUM and you activate the metronome, okay, we go back to the beginning. We ensure also that we have those sync on, so it is off. Let's turn that on as well. Let's click play. You hear 2 bits for every chord. And that is because we have here in the settings chord duration equal to 2 bits, which of course you can change. Now let's deactivate that metronome. Okay, so you can change the duration which is relative to the global settings. So you can make it longer or you can make it shorter. So in this case, if we want half of the duration for C major chord, I goes to 0.5. Let's try. Nice. Now, the next option here says repeat, and that is the number of repetition for that chord based on the duration that you have set up here. So in this case, I will have the same duration of the D minor chord because I'm playing twice the C major chord at half of the duration. Let's try. Really nice. Let's try to do the same, for example, on this E minor chord to give in some rhythm. Really nice. Okay, let's reset these to default values, like so. Now, the next section is really, really clever. So you start from the top where it says global. Click on global, and then here is where you can select a group. So in this case, it will say group 1 is the next empty group which you can create and use. So click on it. When you have done that, it gives you the selection of mode. The default one is legato, which, as it says, it creates legato playing from one chord to the next, which is really nice. But if you click on legato, then you can choose a perform mode, which is really, really nice. So let's select arpeggio. And as you can see, now we have group 1, and under group 1, we have arpeggio set with timing 1/8, pattern up, note length full, octave range 1. Really nice. And also it says here perform mode retrigger, which means every time it moves from the next chord, or it comes to this chord, in this particular case to C major, it will re-trigger from the beginning the mode, which in this case is the arpeggio, but it could be a phrase, for example, it could be a melody. Or you can set it also to follow, which means it will continue from the position where it was from the previous chord, but of course it will play the note relative to the chord which is selected, okay? So it's quite interesting. You can have differences if you want to follow the pattern or retrigger it from the beginning. I leave it to retrigger it for now. Now, we have defined a group 1 with arpeggio. Now, if I go to the next chord, I can select group 1 again, which means I cannot change the settings because they've been already defined here. But in this case, the D minor chord will play exactly the same arpeggio as group 1 for where you have C major. Okay, so as the same as C major chord where we have defined group 1. Let's try. Let's say that I want to have an arpeggio which has different timings. So where it says group 1, I choose group 2 now. So I create a new group and I change now the timing. So let's choose something faster like 1/16. And now let's play. So that's really, really clever. And I could continue like that. So we have group 1 there, group 2 there, group 1 here. And let's go back at the beginning and play. So this is really, really, really clever. Now, let me give you another example where you can see the potential. So let's go back to the main page and let's go where it says felt piano. Let's choose an acoustic guitar. Let's go back to the sequencer now. And instead of arpeggio, let's choose, for example, strumming. Okay. And let's choose, for example, I don't know, fast. Okay. Then let's go to the group choose. Let's select strumming again, and perhaps we choose faster. Okay, and let's listen to what that sounds like. And of course, you can make it even more dramatic as a change. Let's say medium there. And of course, you can combine all of this. So for example, let's say we repeat 2 there as well. We decrease the timing as we have done earlier, like so. And let's see what happens, like so. So you can see the potential. You can create different groups. You can have different perform modes. And therefore, you can create really nice progression with different level of performances. And this is where also it becomes clearer other options. For example, if you go back to the main page, if you click on the shift button and then you click on a chord, you had this option which said playback performances. And then it says copy playback performance, paste it, or reset playback performances to global. Now, without knowing how the sequencer works, you would not know exactly what happens when you do this. Now that you know how the sequencer works, for example, you can go to this chord here, E minor. So click on it, playback performances, copy the playback performance, and shift and go to the next chord, E minor, where there is group 2. The previous one had group 1. Click on it, say playback performance, paste. And in this case, you pasted the previous playback performance, which was on group 1, also on that E minor chord. So in this case, you don't have any more group 2, you have group 1. So now you know how to copy and paste playback performances. So hopefully you can see the potential and it doesn't stop to strumming. So you can have performances, phrases, rhythms, bass line, melody sequences, drum sequences, as we have seen in one of the previous tutorials where we have explained the perform mode. Okay, I hope you enjoyed and found the tutorial useful. And as always, see you next time. Bye.